Swanson with an RPVtv update from the Dyda Civic Center, where our city has hosted its inaugural Veterans Day brunch and ceremony, honoring our community's veterans that have served during wartime and peace.
Hi everyone, John Cruikshank, Mayor, Rancho, Palos, Verdes. Today is a really special day for our city. It's our first annual Veterans Day breakfast, and you can see from behind me how many amazing veterans we have here celebrating the day. The reason we're doing this is because this country affords all the amazing things because of the sacrifices that people have gone to war for us and done all the things important. We've got representatives from all the different armed forces. We might not have someone from the Space Force here this time around because it's such a new force, but we do have many people that have fought in different wars here today, and even during the times when we don't have wars, it's super important that we always have Americans that do join our armed forces because there's so many important roles that our military does even during peacetime that keeps us safe and keeps business and commerce working throughout the world.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Say. I'm one of the city council members for Rancho, Palos, Verdes, and I am a former U.S. Army captain, a veteran. I went to West Point, graduated in 2004, did my duty and came home. Glad to be here this morning. It's wonderful because this is our first annual Veterans Day, recognizing our veterans here in the city, and I'm just so ecstatic to be part of it.
You're going to be the keynote speaker, one of the speakers. What's going to be your message to the community?
I think the biggest thing is recognizing their service and making sure that we get across that their service is not in vain. We remember it, we honor it, and the resilience, and that service doesn't stop with just the military, but it continues when they leave, in a lifetime of selfless service throughout their neighborhoods, the state, and the country, and making sure that we continue to give back to the country.
You know, as everybody was being recognized today, every veteran from different wars, wartime, peacetime, when you get together, talk about that sort of fellowship, the bonding, and just sort of the importance of coming together as veterans.
Just going through tremendous hardships and, you know, being in training and nights where you don't get any sleep, being wet, being tired, being hungry, being deployed, those things are a unifying bond for the men and women in uniform. And it's not about the money, but it's about the service and their care for the country and the love of the country. What I would like to say is, if you see a veteran, say thank you. And if you can, give them a hug and say, hey, we recognize you and we honor you. And I think those small gestures go a long way.
Yeah. I'm now being joined by our wonderful RPV resident, Seaview neighbor, Queely, who was in the Air Force in the 70s, a sergeant, and share about being here and just your military experience.
Well, my military experience, that's where I feel like I became an adult, because I joined right after school, high school, and got to travel a lot and meet everybody from everywhere. And that's where you become global citizen, because people from South, people from North, people from East and West.
Hey, Kui, I know you're still actively involved with veterans through a yoga project. Tell us about that.
This is a national project. If you go to Veterans Yoga Project, you could find it. They take donations from whoever is willing and create a yoga program free for all of the veterans. They also have online yoga studios as well, but as well as local yoga programs that would donate the space and time for the veterans. And if you go to here, you could donate money. And they use that money to provide services.
Talk about like just the fellowship of veterans in our own community, what you see out there.
Well, things like Los Angeles County had veterans stand down to help homeless veterans. I'm currently an attorney, so I go and help homeless veterans. Often get cited for, walking on the street or sleeping on the street, so we try to help eliminate those kind of citations. That's what Veterans Stand Down does, as well as provide them with a day of cleaning and feeding and that sort of thing. So that's how I get involved, because I can.
My name is Art McAllister, resident of Rancho, Palos Verdes since 1978. I was in the U.S. Navy from 65 to 72 and served in Vietnam.
Talk a little bit about your service and your decision to go into the military.
I was fortunate enough to earn a NROTC scholarship. So I attended the University of Colorado as an undergrad, and in 1965 received my commission as an ensign in the U.S. Navy. Within 10 months, I was on a destroyer offshore Vietnam, and it was the first of my three tours in Vietnam. Shortly thereafter, I volunteered to serve on the ground, and I was a communicator at a patrol boat base in South Vietnam. That was a one-year assignment. I came back to the U.S., and about another year later, I was off on this ship, which is a guided missile destroyer, where I served as the combat officer of the deck, and we fired 12,000 rounds into Vietnam, which is the reason I'm wearing hearing aids, is I heard every one of them.
Thank you for your sacrifice, for your service. Are you optimistic about the future of our country and where we're going, and we're going to hopefully see peace around the world?
Yeah, we have to be. I think most of us here served and either enjoyed our experience or endured it, and years later said, boy, that was the most important and impactful part of our life.
Good morning once again. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you here on this Veterans Day, a day of remembrance, recognition, and gratitude. Today we honor the men and women who have worn the uniform, those who have selflessly dedicated themselves to this country and what it stands for. As I stand here, I can't help but reflect on my journey that led me here, a journey marked by both sacrifice and immense privilege. I remember at West Point, I raised my right hand and swore an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. It wasn't a decision I made lightly. It was a commitment and pledge to serve my country and its people. When I think about what it means to serve, I'm reminded that service is not just a word. It's sacrifice, dedication, resilience, and a way of life. It's a commitment to waking up each and every day knowing that we're part of something monumental, protecting the freedoms and the values that define this country. And it's not just those who serve who feel the impact of that commitment. It's also our families, our friends, our communities that make their sacrifices alongside us. Now, for those of us who have been in uniform, we know that serving in the military is more than the moments of challenges and camaraderie. It's a complete understanding of the immense responsibility we carry, an acceptance of risks, and an unbreakable bond with those who serve beside us. Every experience in service to this country leaves its mark, shaping who we are. Every experience that we have, we think about, we carry. Today I think about the men and women who stood beside me, past and present, each one contributing to the legacy of bravery, resilience, and honor. And today, as we celebrate Veterans Day, I'm grateful for the respect and gratitude our community show us. I'm reminded of what it means to return home and to carry forward the lessons we learned while away and serving. In many ways, our service doesn't end when we take off the uniform. It continues in the way we live, the ways we continue to contribute to this country, and the support we give to one another as veterans. Now, to my fellow veterans here today, thank you for what you have given and continue to give. And to those we remember in spirit, to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, we will not be able to repay that debt, but we will always remember and honor you. You are not forgotten, ever.
In 1954, 9 years after the end of World War II, and 1 year after the end of the Korean War, Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day, proclaimed by President Eisenhower to be an annual occasion to honor all American veterans. Whether in the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and recently formed Space Force, millions of individuals from every state, city, county, and corner of the country have made the choice to serve and to sacrifice for the common good. Abraham Lincoln said that any nation does not honor its heroes will not long endure. Thankfully for our country has lasted over 250 years, and heroes like you are the reasons why. Now I'd like to welcome my longtime council colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Eric Alegria.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and good morning, everyone. 2 days before the official celebration of Veterans Day, it's quite moving to be here, to stand here and acknowledge the patriots in Rancho Palos Verdes who have served our country with pride and distinction. And it is with that it's my profound honor to now read the names and branch of service for all the veterans in attendance today. So everyone who is able, please rise so we can show you our respect. Bob Grant, Navy Lieutenant. Bob? Kui Lee, Air Force, Staff Sergeant. Donald Seal, Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel. Karen Beck, Air Force, First Lieutenant. Robert Slade, Army Colonel. Thank you, Colonel. Stephen Taus, Public Health Service, Lieutenant. Carl Gutierrez, Army Major. Major Gutierrez, thank you, sir. Todd Dietrich, Army Specialist 4th Class. Ronald Goupert, Army Private 1st Class. Roland Estridge, Navy. And then Wayne Dietrich, Navy Radar Man, 1st Class. Thank you, Mr. Dietrich. Joe Diggs, Army Corporal. Thank you, Corporal Diggs. Bob Klein, Army Colonel. Thank you, Colonel Klein. Rich Stefani, Army Captain. Thank you, Captain. Ross Peterson, Navy Chief Petty Officer. Major. Dale Goodman, Army Sergeant. Herschel Hardiman, Navy Petty Officer 2nd Class. Mark Northchild, Army Sergeant. Now we're getting into the Marines. Corey Moore, Marines Corporal. Thank you, Corporal. Yosef Aloni, Army Major. Thank you, Major. Gregory Marcello, Army Staff Sergeant. Philip Browning, Navy Lieutenant Commander. George Robinson, Air Force Colonel. John Edwards, Navy Aviation Boatswain's Mate. Excuse me. Thank you. Wayne Lynch, Air Force Airman 2nd Class. Thank you, Airman. Dale Grinnell, Navy Lieutenant Commander. And then Michael Grinshaw. Grinshaw. Is Michael Grinshaw with us? And I don't have a distinction for him, but let's honor Mr. Grinshaw. And then this is part of some of our folks this evening, this morning rather. Keith Hunter, who's an RPV Ranger, who was Marines Corporal. Thank you, Corporal. Our keynote speaker today, Angus Lorenzen, Navy Seaman. And then finally, my friend and colleague, Councilmember Paul Sayo, Navy Captain. We have quite a community, folks, when you look around. And actually, a lot of these names are familiar to the mayor and I because a lot of you have done service for this community as well as service for your country. So thank you for that. The veterans here this morning, each and every one of you have certainly earned our undying thanks and respect. Thank you, all of you, for your service. And now it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Boy Scout Troop 783 and Pack 970 to lead a presentation of colors and a pledge of allegiance.
Color Guard, prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Those in uniform, salute. Those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart.
I'm here with a very special scout, Jack Connor. You spoke today about your grandfather. What was your message about your grandfather today, Jack?
Well, I talked about how he served in World War II in the Navy, and how he helped like other people, like injured people in the hospital during the war.
Why do you think this day is so special to have this day honoring our veterans?
Well, our veterans helped like shape our country, and without them, we probably wouldn't have this country.
The military was a great opportunity for me to get enthralled with learning more about myself, learning more about the country, protecting, serving, but mostly I was just lost and I needed some place to guide me in a direction.
And you joined the Marines. How did it change your life?
Well, the yelling and the bustling and the hustling was a big contrast to the life I lived as an only child, kind of running amok. So I got to learn a lot about dedication and obedience to following the rules and directions, and it was a big life changer.
I'm trained you to be a park ranger for the city. You still serving. We appreciate that. When you served, where were you based, and what were you doing?
I was at MCRD for my boot camp, and then I went to Miramar, and then I went to Japan, and then I came back to San Diego. And I had a chance to serve in Operation Iraqi Freedom back in 2003 after 9/11. So we got to be in Kuwait and Iraq when they got Saddam Hussein. We weren't too far from there, serving as a support unit, and just an incredible experience and very, very scary.
Very scary, but somehow, the nice thing about when you come together, the veterans, like today, you support one another.
Yeah, that's absolutely. If you see a veteran, especially when I go back to the VA, we don't talk about what branch you're in and all this other stuff. We just know that we share a bond with each other. We love God, we love the military, we love helping others, and that's the gist of it, just serving and volunteering and helping.
I'm a kid, came from upstate New York, had a couple of years of college, kind of had to find some direction, so the Navy pointed me towards submarines originally. And I had a wish list, and they said there's a place to go up in Northern California called Mare Island, and signed me up. And I remember flying in and seeing palm trees for the very first time, and beautiful old cars driving around, because I came from the Rust Belt right up near Lake Ontario. Everything rots out there, so California was great. First day I stepped on board there. Then I spent about 7 years on a submarine up there, and then moved down to San Diego and was a submersible co-pilot on a little 3-man submersible called the Turtle. And worked up and down the coast quite a bit, went to dive school down there, and worked with the submarine rescue unit down at North Island.
So what years were you serving in the Navy? You said 20 years plus some.
82 to 2002. And then I retired and transitioned really quickly into to Boeing, and worked down at Boeing Huntington Beach here until recently.
I just want to start off by thank you for your service in the military, serving in the Army during Vietnam. What are some of the things you want to share about your service and your message today?
Well, the first thing I want to share about it is that it was both an opportunity and a bit of a scare, because, it's a pretty, military's a serious place to grow up in. but I do appreciate the service that I did, and it provided me with a GI Bill, so I was able to go to college after that and become a college professor. So I'm very grateful for the fact that the country was willing to back up its veterans with the kinds of support that they give.
I was in from 1969 to 1989. I got reactivated to help with two wars, the liberation of Kuwait with General Schwarzkopf, and also Afghanistan. If you are retired and taking a pension, they will find you and bring you back for the national urgency. In fact, I asked the last time the Surgeon General's office called me, because I was a medical doctor in the Army, I asked, when do you stop calling me? And they said, sir, we stop calling you when you're 75 years old or blind in both eyes. They'll take you if you're blind in one eye, or if you've been convicted of a felony. It was close, but I was never convicted. So I said, well wait a minute, what if I tell? They said, that's okay now, we don't care anymore. So I got to reserve. I had to give you a little shtick there, sorry.
I love it. So Colonel, thank you for joining us. We're here on a very special occasion. Talk what this means to you today, especially to be together with other veterans.
Yeah, you know, to me, I was shocked when I got the invitation, because I think things like this need to be done. You will find here in this group, because I've been talking to them, a lot of pacifists. These people are not warmongers. They do not believe in violence. They believe in defending our country and our values, and that's what we're here to thank them for.
This is our first Veterans Breakfast. We've been planning this for the last several months. Council was really excited about putting on an event, again, specifically to honor our community's veterans. And so we brought a caterer out to give us a hot breakfast. We have the Palos Verdes Symphonic Band to provide some patriotic music. And we had a couple of great scout groups here to volunteer, help us with setup and serving the food, and giving us the Pledge of Allegiance and all those sort of ceremonial things. This event, we really wanted it to be a chance to honor our veterans, but give them a chance to just come and be together and socialize, and again, enjoy a hot breakfast. And speaking with them as they checked in, and as we planned the event and as they RSVP'd, it was just really cool to learn all of their stories and learn about how many really interesting people and stories we have in our community.
And of course, the acts of heroism. We had a speaker who was a prisoner of war. I talked to some veterans that were shot in their tour of duty, and just this to show gratitude today as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, we wanted to thank our veterans, honor them. You know, learning how many of them there are in our community, and each one has unique, really interesting stories. And it was great to have them out here, be able to serve them that breakfast, honor them, and get to know them and hear their stories, and just say thank you for your service, and we're happy to have them as part of our community.
Well, and what's great about being at the Dyda Civic Center today is the buildings behind me. They were barracks during the Cold War, the Nike missile sites that are here on the Civic Center property, and all the tie-in between our city's history and the history of the U.S. military are so critically important, and it's even the property is still owned by the federal government, and so we just understand the importance of our U.S. military, how it's allowed cities like Rancho, Palos Verdes to flourish, and how we so much love our veterans.
And as we wrap it up here at the Dyda Civic Center, it's important to remember when you see a veteran to say thank you. I'm Liz Brown Swanson with an RPV TV update. Thanks for tuning in.